Good evening and welcome to the script. I'm your host, Isaac Paul, and this should be a pretty interesting show. Let's start off with a little bit of housekeeping. What is the script? The script is the digital counterpart to the Tequila Tales. Now, what is the Tequila Tales? The Tequila Tales is a fully engaging discussion on love and relationships. Now, what it is not is a panel discussion, and I'm always good to say that because a lot of times when you go to panels, man, is as fun and as engaging as they can be. Like the goal of the panel is for you to hear from the panel, right? It's not for you to engage. But what the Tequila Tales, our motto is, with love, we all have a story to tell, and so our goal is to get those authentic stories, from the very attendees, from the people that participate, right? Like Tequila Tales is an action sport. So you're not just here just to hear from the experts, you're here to engage. Now what the script is like the digital manifestation of that. I entered into a collaborative effort with blackdoctor.org, great organization. Blackdoctor.org is a network and just an organization that promotes health and wellness, as well as people that work inside the healthcare industry, right? So it's about connecting everyday individuals with healthcare professionals, and specifically those of people of color, right? Like if you are Black, brown, anything, you may sometimes want a healthcare professional that shares a similar experience as you, right? A similar cultural experience, because it does aid in just the awareness, right? And so, like, that really is the primary motivation of this organization, but really with all things surrounding health and wellness. And so, I just thought it was just a great opportunity to have this collaborative effort alongside them, right? And so, from show to show, I've been trying different things, right? Like we've been experiencing some experimenting with like just a lot of different things with the platform. Sometimes I'm going to be a character, other times I might be interviewing people. But today is going to be a different kind of show, right? And what do I mean by that, right? So for those of you all that do not know, we have a podcast, right? And we've had a podcast for like almost 7, 8 years now. This ain't the most consistent podcast, right? Like we like we like a Usher album, you know what I mean? It's good, but it's few and far in between, right? Just because everybody's got jobs and it's we all live in different cities. But I used to have this segment on the back end called The Opinion, and it's when they would just allow me to monologue, right? They would just allow me to just kind of off the top of the dome, whatever was happening. Like sometimes they would throw me a topic, other times I might have something that was kind of on my heart, and then I would just kind of just go in and I have a tendency to be a little loquacious, so sometimes it can be a little you know heavy, right? But I hadn't done one in a while, so I was like, you know what, this will be a fun show to just kind of, I don't know, man, just kind of vibe with y'all. So one of the things that I want to make clear is that we're streaming across multiple platforms, right? So it's blackdoctor.org, the Tequila Tales on Facebook, on YouTube. So regardless of where you're at, you have the ability to communicate with me. And if you drop a comment, I'll be able to see it and I can actually bring you into the screen, not only the comment, but then I can kind of interact with you. So I say that to say that I want this to be as collaborative as possible, in the sense of I want you all to share your thoughts, right? So even if you're the only one in the particular room that you're in, feel comfortable with commenting and I'll be able to see it. And then, you could just interact with me, right? But with that being said, man, like I said, man, I mean, it's been a lot going on, right? A lot going on. And yeah, man, I'm just share my opinions on it, right? And we'll see where this goes. And like I said, feel free to chime in and share your opinions as well, because that's important. Look at that, Casey. Hey, Casey, how you doing? and so, wait a minute, where you watching from? You watching from AZ? Oh, well, thank you, Casey. Thank you, I appreciate that. Man, it's good to hear from you. It's great to hear from you. So yeah, like I said, man, if y'all have some topics, feel free to put them in. But man, I guess where I'm gonna start is just really talking about the debate yesterday. So I don't know how many of you all had an opportunity to see it, the vice presidential debate between Governor Walz and Senator Vance. But it was overall, I thought it was a pretty good exchange. I'll start there right now. Let me go ahead and just give this disclaimer. I had an opportunity to be a part of a debate watch party, and it was being held at the Onyx Gallery. And they had, what was it, Congressman Jeffries came through, and a couple of other like senators and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was a really nice turnout, but I say that to say that there was a lot going on. So while I could key into the debate, I was also able to see like the crowd reaction, right? Which that was pretty engaging to just see how this room full of black and brown people predominantly reacted to the exchange. And so that was kind of interesting to see. Uh, Hold on. We got Santana. I appreciate you and your wife. I attended the Tequila Tales and now I found my forever boo. Thanks. Ooh. Oh, really? Oh, that's so dope, Santana. Oh, wow. Oh wow, that just touched me. Oh, that is a really great comment to read, man. Straight up. Man, congratulations on that, man. And thank you for sharing that, man. Wow, that's yeah, no, that's touching, and I'm glad to know that. I'm glad to know that because honest to God, like that really is our purpose, right? With it, it doesn't always seem that way, but that really is our purpose. It's I never wanted to be the relationship expert. That's why I was always hesitant about giving like advice, right? Because I feel like we all have value and we all have experiences and I'm a big proponent in just believing that it's going to take something different for all of us. We're all looking for something different that will make us happy, right? And we have to accept that and we have to acknowledge that. And so sometimes the biggest issue is just getting us into a space where we can speak vulnerably and challenge one another, right? But like not hiding behind like a keyboard or anything like that or whatever, And so it's like the discussions are curated to get people talking, but it's not necessarily to arrive at some definitive conclusion that's right or wrong because I think the world is just more complex than that, man. But the goal is to bring people together, right? And then to just allow the chemistry to take place on its own, right? So that's actually the secret sauce. I probably shouldn't even shared all of that, but to see that it does help, right, and that it does work, that made me feel good to read, and so I appreciate that. Look at this, Casey. What? That's amazing. Congratulations. Okay. Absolutely. We're going to attend an event together. Keep me posted. Oh, I absolutely will. I absolutely will. Matter of fact, send send me your email on one of the platforms. Just DM me. And I'll see to it that we'll take care of you guys. But no, that's awesome. But yeah, man. So back into this like debate situation, right? So yeah, so I'm sitting in this all black room, right? And there's every bit of like 80 to 100 people and so you got the side chatter, the conversation. It was thrown by this organization here in well, the Harris Walls campaign is who threw it, but they were specifically targeting African Americans with this particular event. So that was kind of interesting to see how they set it up. But when I read people's feedback online this morning, and I had to give that disclaimer to say that maybe I was not paying attention as intently as I thought I was, right? But what surprised me this morning was like people's sentiments in terms of like feeling like, oh, JD Vance was a great debater, and it's like, yes, I will concede that, but is that what determines who won the debate? Right. I guess it depends on what your intention is when showing up to that particular platform. Because even in like watching some of the pundits, because I always have CNN and stuff on the background when I'm like working, and it just it is what it is. And everybody was talking about, yeah, he could have scored some more points here, and he could have, yeah, he could have hit him there. And it's like, I can kind of understand why he wouldn't want to do that, right? Like, that's for the people that just see this as a sport. There really are some people that are looking for some substantive change. There really are some people that really do care about this, right? I feel like everybody nowadays falls on one of these extremes of just like extreme, like extremism, or just complete apathy where it's just like, oh, the system is a fraud. And it's like, I get it, right? We know that there's some theatrical elements that's involved to this, clearly, especially when you have 15 million people watching. Like, I get that. But I don't like that we've gotten to a space for at least the vocal percentage of us, where it almost seems like we're downplaying the influence that these politicians have, right? I know it's fashionable to be like an anarchist. I know it's fashionable to be the person that pushes against the system. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I was a conspiracy theorist before it was fashionable to be one. Like, like, to be clear, I still don't really think 9/11 is what everybody say it is. Now that's where my little comes out, right? I saw one of them documentaries and it just felt funny at the time, but whatever, man. That might come back to bite me later on. But I'm pretty vocal about that. Like, y'all, that was a little sketchy, right? And so we know the role that sometimes money and power and influence and even the government can play in how these things play out. That's the best way to put it diplomatically. But I don't agree with this sense of apathy that we have now as Black people in pretending like, one, the stakes aren't high as they've ever been, and two, that we no longer need to participate. I'm like, yeah, like I'm starting to hear these details, like even down here in Arizona. And there was a woman that told me that she said that the election, or down here, the general was won by like 10,000 votes. And she said a lot of even the local elections were moved by as few as 40, right? And so, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, only a few people are paying attention, but this is how the money is getting funneled and how resources are being distributed, right? So it's like, yeah, it's real easy for us to get to that space where we are feeling like there's no influence. And that's one of the reasons why it becomes so important that we have to really pay attention to our local elections. Because to hear 40 votes is what moved a local election, it's like, yeah, a lot of people have gotten very apathetic, you know what I'm saying? And when you even think about that in a city like Phoenix, where there isn't a large Black population, that's where they're like, oh, snap, if we get out the Black population, we could really influence things. So to be able to be a portion of a small percentage, but still have dramatic impact. I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that's sleeping. There's a lot of people that's sleeping on uh the role of just being aware. Well, I mean, it is your civic responsibility. But I'm just saying that to say that yeah, I kind of feel like we have gotten to a space where many of us have become apathetic. And so in watching people talk about the debate, now, luckily, I was happy when it came to some of our people, because those of us that did feel like Walsh won, because to me, I felt like it was a draw on a personal level. I felt like it was a draw. Nobody lost ground if we're going to look at it from a purely just logical space. But it really just comes down to what you were looking for in a candidate, right? Because for me, I was you can tell when, or at least I can, when someone is being authentic and when someone is lying, right? And it fascinates me today that some people are very comfortable with lying. And I don't mean that in like the little white lie, but I mean in really living a completely fictitious identity. It lets me know how deep the wound of social media is, and like how much it really has influenced the way that we even make decisions about important things, right? So it's like, yeah, they were being civil, but it has been interesting to watch some of the banter back and forth. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't know, man. Me and my wife were just talking about this. Like, I, man, these posts cannot be as close as they said it is. It, like, all the stuff that we are seeing, to know that there are still people that's like, yeah, I want to go with that guy. Like, y'all, it feels like I'm living in the Twilight Zone, and I'm really trying to figure it out. I'm really trying to figure out exactly what is happening in this world, man. But anyway, everybody has their own decisions as it relates to like why you vote, and what you're voting for. And I completely understand sometimes when there's certain things that you just deem to be really important, like if you're voting for your economic interests. I'm down for all of that. On a personal level, this particular battle, just, I don't know, man. It feels like we're in a fight for the sanity of the nation. Like, it just, some about this one feels a little deeper, even beyond all of the government conspiracy and all that stuff. It's like, I cannot believe that we are here, that we are looking at the character that we're looking at, and everybody is walking around acting like this is normal. Like, even those of us that know it's absurd, we're getting gaslit on a daily basis. Yo, this dude is selling $100,000 gold watches. Think about that. $100,000 gold. He just slapped his name on some cheap ass gold plated watch, and he is trying to get his people to spend $100,000. Trump like one of them dudes that be outside the flea market. Like, yo, what is happening? The dude was selling gold sneakers. He's selling coins. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that montage. Like, I think I was watching like the Daily Show recently, and they even put together a montage of just what he's been selling recently. Like, I don't know how keyed into this dude y'all are. This is not regular. Like, imagine Kamala hawking one product. Imagine if Kamala was selling hair wraps. You know what I mean? Like $150 hair wraps. Imagine how crazy the entire world would go. But my man's can sell gold sneakers, and I'm supposed to act like this is normal, right? Stop it, man. Oh man. And you hate to get into whataboutism, right? Because I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, right? I hate to get into whataboutism, but that one stings. That stings. It's like, okay, you can be this ridiculous. And I don't know if it's because you're white or if it's because you're rich. I think it's just because you're Trump. I don't think anybody else can do what this man is doing. This man is incredible. Like, I cannot stand him. But the fact that he can keep these people so engaged as if they cannot see it is just, I don't know. And again, this is my opinion. You do not have to agree. You know what I'm saying? It's just, for me and my own sanity. And I feel like it's been a step-by-step process, right? Like, our sanity has been chiseled away, where we are living in a world that's so absurd. And I don't know, it's like, almost, if you're watching this now, I almost want to invite you to hop into a time machine and imagine just your 2017 self, knowing this was going to be going down in 2024. Like, it's been so much that's happened over these past couple of years, man. And I'm not going to say that Trump is the cause, but he is definitely one of the symptoms. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is the embodiment of like this world that we now live in that's fake as hell. Right? That's fake as hell. I mean, and it's not the, I don't know if I can go as far as say social media created it, because sometimes that's what I try to figure out. Like, did social media create it, or did it just amplify it? Like, have people always been crazy and now we just get more access to it? You know what I mean? Sometimes I think about that. Sometimes I try to figure out, have I been dealing with y'all the entire time and I just didn't know? because things seem like they used to make a lot more sense back in the day, man. But like we are in some very bizarre times when you just really step back and think about how much we've changed in like the last 10 years. Yeah, man. Anyway, like I said, I'm monologuing, y'all. I apologize. That's what I used to do with the opinion. Man, what's on to the next one? So, we're talking about the Diddy situation, right? That has been something else that's been going on. And I'm not gonna just talk about it randomly. I'm gonna just make this comment because this is something that is my opinion about this. We all know how just I don't know if you guys have seen the video of the new video that came out with the guy that was really going through all of the um charges, like a lot of the recent stuff. And I'm not even gonna just go through all of it, but because if you haven't seen it, then it might be intentional. But just know if you just hear what the guy was saying, it's like 4 minutes, and he kind of gave you a peek inside of just a few of like this 150 something odd cases, and it sounds absolutely horrendous, like on a level where you're like, damn, like I knew it was bad, but wow. You feel me? Like it's man. It's nah, you know what? I do want you to watch it. I'm not even gonna say I don't want you to watch. I do want you to watch it because I'm somebody that don't like to argue with people on the internet. I don't. I'm gonna be very honest with y'all. I because it's foolish to do so, right? It's foolish to argue with people on the internet because sometimes you might be just dealing with a troll. You know what I mean? And I don't have the time to unpack whatever kind of trauma that you might have been dealing with that's got you in this particular space, right? And so, many times, man, many cases, man, I try as hard as possible to stay out of the comments, right? But we're gonna go into this segment where we will just go ahead and call this one, man. Stay out of the comments, man. Stay out of the comments. That is something that I be very for real about. Like I try to stay out of the comments. But they've been catching me lately. I'm not even gonna pretend like they haven't. And so I've been engaging. Like, and I don't even have the time, but just I don't know. I be feeling gaslit. You know what I'm saying? And so when it comes to this Diddy situation, oh man, like we got to get away from that whataboutism. That is my opinion overall about this particular topic. We got to get out of this whataboutism. I went into one thread and it was on like a pretty popular one of those popular pages, urban culture pages. And when I say every comment that I was reading was asking about Weinstein and, Epstein and well, what about this and what about that? And it was like everybody that was on the video. So like not hearing this in your heart dropping, you're hearing this and thinking, well, how come y'all weren't doing this to the white people? And I'm like, okay, see, we're in a very dangerous place now from a morality perspective when that's and so I was going back and forth with this one brother and because he said something about women. Oh, see, well, that's what do you say? Duh, like some to the degree of like you knew the assignment, you had an opportunity to leave. It was something along those lines. And so I just merely responded, this is how you feel about a 9-year-old being sexually assaulted? And so then he comes back like really defensive, calling me a weirdo. And I'm like, oh, okay, you clearly didn't watch the video that this was referencing because that's what he said. And so then he goes on this long ass thing. And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna give you grace and I gotta fade back now. I gotta fade back now because maybe you just got caught up just commenting on the situation without actually doing some research to know, nah, this ain't some random, somebody was partying, they was fast, and now they trying to get a check, bro. Nah, don't let's not do that. Nah, now I understand why he did not get bail. Like, bro. And if we're being honest, the majority of this, probably 99% of it, was being done to black women or black men. So he was doing this to his own people, right? Nah, man, we can't. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. This is one of them situations where we all just need to sit back, allow it to happen, right? All of this trying to defend him. Oh, what about? You can't. Yes, he's made some great music, bro. Continue to love the music. I'm someone that gives a person permission. I'm not gonna judge you, right? All About the Benjamins was a great song. I got way too many memories to now taint the memories. And it wasn't like I was a puffy lover. I loved that song, right? So, bro, don't feel like you got to defend him so that you can hold on to your catalog. Hold on to your catalog. I've never been the person that thinks that that's actually what canceling is. You can cancel the person without canceling the art. I don't know why. I don't even know why that's a topic, right? Like, we cannot undo our emotions from the art that may not have been attached to that, right? So, like, I almost want to give people permission. Play the songs if you need to. Don't celebrate him, though. Like, because if you celebrate him, then you are saying something different at that point. And I need you to be aware of that. I just need you to accept that if you're defending him, then you are saying something. You're saying something, right? You're making a statement to every other woman that's reading that. You're making a statement. And I mean, sometimes the women are saying something similar. And it's like, yo, I need you to be mindful, right, of what you're saying. You're saying that this type of activity is acceptable. And it's not under any circumstances. Nobody was asking for an assault, right? To get drugged, didn't even know it. You wake up the next day, panties missing. We're defending that? Like, are y'all listening? So that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't be listening. Everybody want to goddamn talk, and y'all not listening. Y'all don't take an opportunity to actually hear something. Everybody just wants to be heard, right? That's all it is. Everybody wants to be heard. You know what I'm saying? But are you listening to? That's okay to talk, but are you listening? I get it. Sometimes you feel like talking. Sometimes you feel like talking, man. I get it. Sometimes you do. But you also got to be able to listen. That actually makes you a great talker if you listen. And we need to be listening to these tapes. We need to be listening to what is being said about this man's actions, right? So that we can be uniform in understanding and castigating us and saying, yeah, like, I don't care even if this is how things used to be, this, that, and the third. Like, society is trying to move forward, right? And we all got to take some ownership in that. That it just, I get it, man. I get it. I'm a product of it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna sit up here and pretend like I'm not. I'm not going to pretend like hip hop in the early 2000s didn't influence me in some toxic ways, right? I'm gonna go ahead and take ownership of that, right? Like, I mean, you know, that's what you got to do when you want to grow. You have to accept that yo, man, like, we grew up in a way that wasn't all the way right. But this dude right here, though, dog, like, man, he was like a cartoon villain with it, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we done all done a little, some, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go into specifics, but we know the 90s was a different time, okay? Like, I get it, okay? It was a different time, but damn, like, just even 1,000 baby oil. Come on, y'all, 1,000. Like, anytime you say that, that's gonna be one of them things that is it. To even think about it, it's never gonna not have a major reaction to me, because what were you doing with 1,000 though? You know what I mean? Like, I swear to God, I really do need to know about that one, just because I'm curious. Oh no, not baby oil, of lube. Yeah, that to me is, oh man. I want to know what was the situation that occurred when that man said, "Never again will I run out," and it will cause him to say, "I need to get this." Yo, that is, oh my God. Oh man, yeah, this is nothing to be defended, man. Like why is that the hill you want to defend? Why are we? I get it. Y'all like his music. He's rich. We got to get out of that as a society. We have to get out of this, like, I don't know if it's idol worship or I don't even think it's that. I sometimes also think we're getting into being contrarians. And that goes back to what I was saying a moment ago. Like I'm one of the old school conspiracy theorists. But I don't think a lot of people nowadays are really conspiracy theorists. I don't really think they're thinking into it. I think they're just being a contrarian, right? Like, oh, everybody's doing this, so I want to do that. And that to me is a little, I don't know, that's different, because that's not really you being an independent thinker. That's you just trying to be different, right? And that's the way I look at it. And that's how it comes across, man. You can always tell when somebody trying too hard. All right, so now we're gonna go to another little part. You know what I'm saying? So this right here was a post that apparently this is blowing up on TikTok. Okay, and I would love to get you all's feedback on this because all right, people like little silly stuff like this. This is a simple one to me. You let me know how you feel. TikTok is debating whether fathers should change their daughters' diapers. I think they should. Being a father includes responsibilities like this. What's your take on this? So, you know, in this particular thread, it got pretty interesting with some of the feedback. You know, it didn't look like it was 100% that said yes. I absolutely think he should. Um, you know, my wife asked me this, and I almost got, she was like, "How do you feel about this?" And like, I immediately felt insulted, right? But then I had to scale back and just look at the gravity of like the situation. Someone that might be having problems with their child's father, they maybe they don't live together, and it's one of those type of situations where he barely taps in. Okay, whatever, I get that. But we're talking diapers, man. We're talking first, what, like 3 years or something like that. We're talking like from infant on to like toddler stages. um and you had a child with someone that you think is on that level of pedophilia. That is you talk about a lack of accountability. My goodness, man. Like, yo, and I'm not even somebody that's like, oh, women hate some accountability, even though the reels do be hilarious. But man, listen, okay, y'all just lost some points on that one. I need some women to let me know how y'all feel about that, man. So yeah, listen. Okay, so if you all are watching, right, how do you feel about that? Okay, so just if you feel confident enough, I don't want you to feel pressured in this regard, but I'm gonna read it. TikTok is debating whether fathers should change their daughters' diapers. What do you think about that? I'm telling you, I didn't go all through the TikTok thread to see that, but just to know that that was heating up in some of these individual threads, I was like, oh, that doesn't even look like something that's worthy of discussion, right? It's like a common sense thing, but okay, I guess that's the world that we living in right now. Uh, hold on, Annette said yes. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you, Annette. And see, the thing about these types of questions that I always find kind of fascinating is like I always try to see things from as many different circumstances as possible, right? Because I understand that I don't see everything, and that's part of what I think one of my strong suit is seeing things from other people's perspectives. Like I go through great lengths to understand a person's viewpoint, even if I disagree with it, because it's okay for us to disagree. But that's one of my personal pet peeves is I hate to be misunderstood and taken for granted. Those are the two things that just can really probably make me shut down on some level. And so I go through great lengths to try to understand people, right? And to try to really get into the emotion behind the thoughts, because that to me is where we really can connect, is if we can understand that. Like, our thoughts are going to always be different because we all do have different truths because we've had different experiences. But the commonality that we do share is the emotion. Now, it might not be that we feel the same emotion about the same topics, but it's the emotion itself, right? Like, at its pure form. Like, grief is something that we're all supposed to understand, despair, love, right? Humor, like at its foundation, the emotion is what binds us, and so that's another one of the reasons that I think Tequila Tales had always continued to um be just such a great outlet for me, because it's one of those topics that a lot of us are experiencing on some level, but you do have to sometimes try to see things from different people's perspectives to like understand what it is that they may be experiencing. And so when I first got that uh TikTok situation, I was like, yeah, I can understand needing to be protective of your daughter, right? And just the topic itself has so much weight because of just how many women and how just alarming the statistics are of women that have been sexually assaulted their life, and just the fact that it's such a common thing that it's like more that have not than those that have. And so that in and of itself is just like a shocking stat to know. Because in many cases we may not be looking at it like that, right? Like, we're not like really looking at the specifics. We're just looking at it from our experience in our interaction. So because we didn't see it in our world, we sometimes lack the empathy and understanding that someone has, right? And so you got to be careful about not like downplaying someone else's experience just because that wasn't your experience. And I think that that's the role of really what a real leader is. You know what I'm saying? But when I looked at this particular one, like I said, because of when she's wearing the diapers, it's like, shit, that is, you just got with that dude. Anyway, would you say, Casey, if I can't trust you with our child, I don't trust you with me. You're changing diapers, bro. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't expect you to say anything less. Kathy says there's nothing wrong with that. People need to stop making everything sexual. I agree. There are far more single fathers these days than before. Who's going to change the baby? Right. What about the male pediatricians? Right. Everyone's intentions is not to harm the baby. That's sick. And man, listen, and I agree with that. And like I was just saying a moment ago, like, the way that I see it, sometimes it's just me trying not to me not trying to downplay that someone has experienced it, right? But I totally agree with you. Like, that just as a, should this be a problem? Man, I wish I would have a daughter and you be like, oh no, I don't trust you with that. Like, okay, yeah, we have a problem, So yeah, I just, like I said, I just got sent that one today. Let me see. Oh, let me see. Anyway, no, I thought that was another topic that I was about to slide into. But yeah, man, like I said, things are really getting oh, I'm sorry. We got another comment. That also means you're not giving baths. Right. Right. But yeah, so I mean, just to like round things out. So yeah, like I said, yesterday was an interesting experience. Just being in that space, being around a lot of other black people that genuinely cared, about the experience. And that kind of even got me into the space of just like the way that politics plays into all of that, right? So I really didn't get an opportunity to go through this, but our last event that we had was called the swing state. So, I always come prepared anytime I'm talking, about politics or whatever. But the basic questions that I was asking the audience, and this was something that I always thought that was kind of interesting, but you know, I was comparing the elements of an election with that of love relationships. But the one of the main center points was, what do you think normally causes someone to be on the fence with regards to a relationship? Right. So I want to ask you all that. What do you think normally causes someone to be on the fence? Right. Like, is it that you just not feeling them? Could it be that you are feeling them and you're kind of hesitant a little bit because maybe he's not checking all the boxes, and furthermore, how would you feel about somebody telling you that they were on the fence? So if you're watching, I'm curious to know, how would you feel about that? I know me personally, I don't know. I think I approach these relationships differently in that regard, right? Like, I've always been someone where the relationship kind of develops naturally. Now, I know that that's a big thing for people to like date with intention. That's kind of like their thing, right? Like you have to know off the rip. You got to know off the rip that this is what we're doing, and I understand that. And there are times where I think those intentions align. But I also think that that's where you can find yourself in situations with people that, I don't know, you're not really vibing with. You know what I'm saying? Because you all just both had the intention, as opposed to like really making chemistry the priority. So I don't think that, I've never been in a situation, to my knowledge at least, and this might be arrogant on my part. I've never been in a situation where someone was on the fence about me, because I think the way I move, we either naturally grew there or we kind of knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's where like ghosting comes into play sometimes, because it's almost like, did you really ghost, or were y'all just not vibing and it just kind of naturally faded off, right? If you have to question if someone ghosts you, that's normally an indication right there, man, that like things are kind of like fading down, So as it relates to feeling on the fence, yeah, but I think that if someone does say that, I don't think, on it is on a personal level. You all can disagree. You feel free to share if you do, but I don't necessarily think that someone being on the fence means that they're not into you, right? Like, we all have different pacings as to how we like move forward in relationships. And I can understand you feeling a certain way if you are on the fence, uh, and that possibly driving someone, because that can make you feel insecure. I think I would want to know why. I think I would want to know, why is someone on the fence in this relationship, right? Uh, I think sometimes women see what looks like hesitation in men, and there's automatically the assumption that because he's taking time, that means that he's not into you, And I don't think that that's the case, Now, there was that meme that was floating around for a while where they were talking about, and I can't remember who the two people were. I think they were on like one of those reality shows where like, uh, I think, oh, what was it? It might have been The Bachelor or one of them, where it was like a black woman. She ends up marrying a white guy. And the whole popular meme that was going around was where she was saying something like, she thinks that white men are socialized to be in marriage and in relationships. And that kind of got people, heated. And when I saw it, I was like, I can understand that, and I do agree with that on some levels, but I don't think that necessarily means that that makes them a better option by any means, or that I don't know. It was something about it that I felt like, yeah, that's the direction of where I saw people in the comment section going with that particular meme. Uh, I knew was unfortunate because the statistics don't necessarily measure up. You know what I mean? But again, though, I don't think that men necessarily. Uh, I can't say that I do believe that because of just, and I don't know if this is necessarily black men. See, I think that's where it goes into it. I don't think that it's that black men aren't socialized. I think it has more to do with an income thing. I think it's more of an income thing than it is a race thing, right? And I can invite someone to challenge me on that because, like I said, when you really do look at the statistics of not only marriage percentages, but then also black men with black women, it's not really what the prevailing narrative is, right? But when we talk about like being socialized, yeah, I really do think that that has more to do with the financials than anything else. Because there's so many factors that go into marriage, period, right? Like not only just the cost of it, but then even the shared assets. Like it is, you all are joining on paper, and there's a lot of things that go into that. You know what I mean? And depending upon just where you're at and the amount of debt that one party may have over the next, that makes that situation a little more tricky. So I just think that we have to be cautious when we're looking at certain stats that make it feel like yeah, when black women marry white men, those marriages typically last longer, because that was one of the stats that was going around, and it was like, yeah, I can I can say that that's probably true, right? The divorce rate is significantly less, but that's probably because she married a white guy that wasn't poor, right? We're just going to be honest. That does have some influence on the way that the entire marriage moves forth. Like financials is a big portion of it. Now that obviously leads into a whole nother conversation, but if we're just looking at the specifics, it's not necessarily saying that one race is more prone or that happiness is more ideal. Like, yeah, it gets sticky when you get into that space. Let me see. Oh, okay, this was one of the earlier comments. I'm sorry. Could be trust issues. That's as it relates to why do you think someone what causes someone to be on the fence with regards to a relationship. Yeah, I do agree with that. Casey, I dated a guy who, who you say, I dated a guy who really vibes with me, but he knew I wasn't as religious as he was and couldn't see something long term. He hoped for someone who could talk, who could be a first lady. Yeah. Yeah, no, you definitely could be a first lady. We ain't gonna say that. You could definitely be a first lady, right? But the church was gonna be a little ratchet though. The church would be a little ratchet. But yeah, man. Like I said, yeah, I just wanted to hop on real quick, man, and just share a couple of opinions, and just kind of come off the top. It's been a while, man. It's been a while since I just shared my thoughts and just got some stuff off the dome. And so I appreciate you all humoring me because sometimes you do get to a space where you just kind of feel like talking, like dead ass. And you be amazed where a good conversation can go. Like a good conversation can really shift your perspective on how you see things. There's value in it. There's value in genuinely interacting with someone. And I think that we've kind of gotten out of the habit of that just because of being inside of this virtual space. I think it has value. Now, I am someone that will say that. I think it has value. I'm not the social media is the, the end all, it's the gloom and doom. Nah, I actually do think that it has a lot of value. I just think that it also has a lot of danger, and we're not always responsible in how we've been using it, right? But as it relates to being able to just connect and disseminate a message, I mean, I wouldn't be able to rock out with you and just even ramble, right? And hold you all's attention without it. So I do understand that it has value, but I am someone that always encourages people, man, to get out and connect with people, right? And the vibe with people. Because I've been asking people this question right here, right? And I'll ask you this, and I want you to think about this. And if you got the answer, feel free to share it, because this is something I'm curious about. Like, where do adults go to establish like platonic relationships nowadays? Like, where do you go for that? Like, and when I say nowadays, I mean like for a minute. Like, where do adults go to establish like platonic friends? I cannot come up with an answer. You know what I mean? Like, the only place I can think about low key is work. And work, these ain't really your friends. These are more like work colleagues, but a lot of friendships can, be created there. And it's largely because of the fact that you get an opportunity to be around someone, right? Like, for an extended period of time. And so I think that that carries with it like some value. But outside of work, everything else that we do, it's difficult to just go somewhere. Like school, you used to be able to do it, but outside of like your groups, your social groups and things of that nature, we really don't have a lot of spaces where we can go and just genuinely connect. And honest to God, that is what Tequila Tales is. That is what Tequila Tales is. You know what I mean? Like, it is a space for you to be able to come in, feel the energy of other people in an environment that is like, I don't know, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. So if you are watching this and you all are interested in attending, our next show is going to be on October 17th, and it's going to be a special one too. It's going to be a collaborative event with me and Krishan Lampley of Love Corkscrew. So while it will still have the Tequila Tales vibe, it's actually going to be a wine and love. So that one is something that you'll definitely want to be on the lookout for. I'm really excited about it. And Chicago, you guys will see me very soon. So I've got some information that I'll be sharing with you all in the upcoming weeks, because it's time for me to get back to the shy. Because yeah, like I said, this is just something that I know has value, and we're going to touch a couple of other places in the very near future too. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited about that. Like I said, 2025 is already shaping up to be something very special. But as always, you all, I cannot share it enough, man. How much I appreciate you all, just tapping in with me from show to show, and this is going to continue to be a work in progress. If you all are not following the Tequila Tales, I want to encourage you to do so. And then also, now this one is actually very important, so important that I need to send you guys a link to this one. Hold on, because the easiest way to stay inside the loop is if you all join the list. You definitely want to be inside the inner circle, because you all, I cannot share enough like how difficult it can be, no matter how much money you spend, and to actually get messaging out there to people that care to stay inside the loop. Like, you all can sign up for the email list, and that's good, but spam filters are a beast, right? And I can send it out, and maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. And I know we ain't checking promotions, because half the time I ain't checking. Just gonna keep it a buck. Obviously you can pay to do an ad on Instagram, and maybe it gets to you. But the best way for us to remain is for you to go ahead and sign up to the inner circle. I just put the link. It should have come up in you all's comment section. If you all just click on that link and you all become a member of the inner circle, pretty much anything that's happening inside of your city, it will let you know. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll not only get discounts on tickets, you'll get free tickets. There's special giveaways and also invite only events. This Wine and Love that we're having in another 2 weeks, this is an invite only event. And I'm gonna be talking about it a lot. So just so y'all know, if you all are interested, you also need to follow the Tequila Tales, because we're going to be going live quite a bit more frequently. And yeah, we'll probably really like open it up a little bit. So you definitely want to be following the Tequila Tales. You definitely want to become a member, right, with the Inner Circle. And like I said, it's no cost, but it does keep you in the loop. Always giving away something free on there. So you want to stay tapped in. But you all straight up, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. And until the next time.